Hello, and welcome to Trading Without Fear. Good morning, Quentin and everyone else. So today is going to be a short day for me. I have a dentist appointment around 11:30. So I won't be trading for too long. Right now, I'm just waiting for the market to kind of make its decision. Looks like the Qs are starting to go up a little bit today. So uh, looks like we're having overall market strength. The area of bounce yesterday that I was anticipating, which is a little bit lower, which is fine, but looks like today's a bounce day. So we'll just be looking for anything I can go long on, ABCD, wedge patterns, stuff like that. So we'll just have to wait to see what the market plays out here in the next half an hour or so. All right, so what I'm looking at here is PayPal. It has a nice wedge pattern. And so I'm going to go ahead and get in with 3 contracts, risking 25%. I'm going to bring my risk up just because I think on this particular chart, it may be a little bit too tight. Go ahead and cancel that and just hit the ask. So I went ahead and canceled it and just hit the ask. That way I can get a feel before the stock starts to move away too quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and move up my risk just a little bit. I think on this particular trade, I can risk a little bit less versus that 25%. So moving it up from about 107 to 108 to 120. And we'll just see how this trade works. All right, so far the time is 8:16 in the morning. I'm only in PayPal and TEVA. TEVA had some sort of news catalyst that had a huge gap up this morning. And I was looking at it as a potential short position, but it ended up bouncing off this level right here, which, if it would have fell through, would have indicated it was going to go more down. But then what it ended up started doing was making higher lows, bounce off the VWAP. And I'm thinking that with 24 million in volume so far, and the market's only been open for about an hour almost, that it's possible this thing can keep going up a little bit more. So I went ahead and got 6 contracts at 22 cents. So it's not a huge position. It's only a $132 position, so it's not a huge position on this one. I didn't want to add too much on this for a couple of different reasons. One, when I'm getting down into these really, really, really cheap type of stocks, the commissions in real life will actually start to add up quite a bit. And so taking 6 contracts, I should have, probably doubled that, probably a 12 contract position. But I'm okay with just taking the 6 right now and seeing how the trade works. All right, so I started noticing Pinterest weakness right here, and I ended up getting in some contracts and at 77 cents. 5 contracts at 77. So it's a $385 position on that. I just got stopped out of my first position on PayPal And what I'm looking at is a potential fade pattern right here. I think if we can continue breaking down here, just didn't have the volume for it to keep pushing up. And so it's also possible this one might just go back and forth sideways in the consolidation range for a while and not actually break down. But I'm looking at lower high, failed VWAP. If we can break down below this line right here, I think there's a good chance that we can continue going on for a little bit. But I am taking about a 15% loss on the first position on PayPal, so that's not too bad. Looks like I should have went a little bit bigger size on a TEVA. I'm up 43% and see if it can go up any higher. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so I did find this particular pattern on the Qs. And I'm getting in 10 contracts at 54 cents. It's a $540 position. Which leaves me with $160 left to trade with. It's a little bit bigger position than I was like really wanting to get. I just didn't do the math on that correctly. But my thought process on this was we had a nice uptrend and it's hitting into this resistance level right here, and you can just see where there's resistance. So I end up taking a short position on it, anticipating a downside reaction. And if it can break down through this $300 mark right there, I think there was a little bit more downside just because there was some resistance in that area, and that's why I got into the trade. So we'll have to wait and see, but I have $160 left to trade with. Strike price on the Qs was $296. $10 at 54. So I'm just writing down, I'm keeping track of what my trades are, what the strike prices are, and so on. I'm still currently in PayPal. I think the direction on PayPal is just in the sideways chop. And I don't know if it's going to pick a direction yet, but currently I'm down 15%. If it breaks out above the highs here, I'll get stopped out. If it breaks down below, potentially following the Qs, then we may have a profitable trade right there. But I don't know if the Qs are going to keep going down or if it's just going to hold this support level right here and keep going up. But I'm anticipating this long-term resistance level right here, temporarily still acting as resistance. So this red line right here is indication of that resistance level. So you can see it came up, hit that resistance, couldn't break through, started making lower high, and if it fades down, you might be into a profitable trade. So I'll go ahead and just pause the video again and we'll see what happens. Oh, okay. So my original direction on PayPal was accurate. I just got in, got stopped out, decided to change directions. And the trade would have ultimately worked on the long side. I just got stopped out during this downwards trend right here. And it's possible it's because I actually, wasn't risking that 25% that I should have been risking. If I would have risked that 25%, I should have still been in the trade, I believe. So let me just see if that would be the case or not. So I got into it at 85 strike. So in at 141 or 144, sorry, and got stopped out at 17. The low of this candle right here would have been 110.
As the markets are crashing, short selling is becoming more common in my trading system. TradeZero offers a large list of hard to borrow stocks. One of the unique features that I love about TradeZero is they offer you the ability to sell back borrowed shares and get a percentage in return. Locate fees adds up, and this feature allows you to save more money. The executions are done with direct market access, which means the executions are lightning fast. TradeZero offers customizable level 2s and time and sells, which is a great feature that I love. Click the affiliate link below and open your TradeZero account today.
That would have been a 23% negative. So if I would have actually kept my risk at 25% like I typically do, I would actually be profitable in the trade. Currently, right now, it's trading at 162. So I'd be up 12% so far on PayPal. So I do need to keep that risk consistent around 25% and not increase it just because I think I can risk less. Because I ended up getting stopped out at 117, that was at 18%. So it wasn't a huge loss percent wise. 18% isn't bad, but I would still be in a winning trade right now if I would have kept that 25% risk. So that was a $81 loss on that trade. And so yeah, it would have been actually a profitable trade so far. I'm still in the queue, still in a TEVA. TEVA looks like it's just slowly grinding up trending. I do think at some point we may actually break out of this area right here, which is the $88.95 range, and try to have a push up to $9. Currently, I'm up on that trade around 31%, and I did get a short on the Qs, which I think I'm going to get stopped out here because it's going to try to test this level again. And if it breaks through that level, it's just going to keep going up. And the long-term chart, which is what I'm looking at, it looks like we had that bounce that I was anticipating yesterday, bounced up today, and if it continues going up at this point, I'll be willing to take that 25% loss. But this would have also been a good time to try to go long on the trade. So what I'm going to do is take that 160 that I have. I was going to go long on this portion right here to see if it's going to break out of that and use that 160 that I had left to do that with. So I'm going to get 3 contracts, risking 25%. If I can get a fill, I want to get in around 44 cents. And if I get this fill, that means that I'll be done trading for the day. So there we go. I got a fill at 44 cents. SIGA. I'm looking for more of a push, and eventually on this chart, I'm going to end up looking for a short position sometime in the near future. I'm going to keep that on watch. PayPal would have been a fantastic wedge pattern, ABCD pattern type trade. That would have worked out. Ideally, it would have been better to get in. I mean, here's fine, and then also here's fine. But ultimately, risking that 25% would have been the most optimal thing to do. I just need to remember to not increase my risk or decrease my risk, I should say, when the risk is based off of data for me to have the highest probability of staying in the trade. So I'm just going to pause the video again, and we'll jump back to see what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes. All right, so it looks like the Qs are starting to try to test this resistance level. And if we get a clean breakthrough on that, I'll get stopped out of the short position on the Qs, and looks like it's having some volume come through. So we'll end up seeing what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get stopped out of that larger trade, and then we'll just have to see what's going to happen next. All right, so I just got stopped out of the Qs, and so far today's trading has been pretty terrible. I don't know if it's because I have a time frame that I gotta get to that dentist appointment on, or if it's just because I don't really have a good feel for the market. Like I said, there's been a lot of personal stuff going on in my life, which is why I'm doing this paper challenge. But I'm okay with whatever the outcome is of today's trades. That Q's loss would have actually been a pretty decent sized loss because I went in pretty big. So I'm just checking to see what that loss is right now. So that was a $130 loss currently on the Q. So it wasn't as big as I was anticipating. Currently, I'm up $42 on my long position on the Qs with a 31% profit. So currently today I'm down 246.50. And even if these other two trades work out, I don't think that's going to be a green day for me. So at this point, I'm anticipating a red day no matter what. It just depends on how much of a red day it is. So some of the key takeaways from today is to actually honor the data of the risk. That 25%, if I would have done that versus the 18, 17% that I moved it up to, I would be up around 64% right now. So I would have already had half my contracts off at this point on PayPal. And same thing kind of goes with the Qs of where right here, I was pretty anticipating a downside reaction based off that, long-term / short-term resistance in this area, and went in a lot larger. So I need to keep a mindfulness of that, of not going in larger than what I should be. My average position should be around 300, maybe 400 max, but 300 is where I want to keep that average at. And just because I was convicted that this trade is going to work, luckily I held to my risk level. I ended up taking a larger position than I should have. So a couple of key takeaways: maintain the risk and don't go in larger than what the data is and the money management rules that I've set up says I should be doing. All right, so a couple of things that I was just thinking about in order for this paper trading to work. properly, I'm going to have to actually stick mostly to my money management rules. Today, if I would have actually stuck to the money management rules on a couple of trades, I would have had the opportunity to at least take another 1 or 2 trades in the day. Typically, I take 5 trades, and I did take those 5 trades today. But because 2 of them were actually really large size compared to what I should be doing, those 2 trades would have been equivalent of being able to get into another 2 more trades from today or for today. And because I wasn't able, well, because I didn't stick to that money management rules as far as how much capital I should be putting into each trade, I now don't have an opportunity to, get into another trade if something does work out. But also at the same time, the losses that I took were larger purely just because I had a lot larger size. So the largest loss that I took was on the Qs. That was also the largest position that I had. Total amount down today is $287, and the Qs currently I'm only up like 750, so it's possible that one could take loss and I could be down more than $300 on the day from a $1,500 account. I was up a couple of days ago just over 1,700. Currently, I'm my account size is $1,330.58. So it pretty much doesn't matter exactly whether or not these last 2 trades are profitable or not. Today's still going to be a red day. Like I said earlier, it just depends on how much of a red day it is based off of how these trades work. So I need to get going to the dentist appointment and get driving over there. And I'll just pause the video, come back and see what it is that I don't know if I'll be back before market closes or not, but we'll just have to see how it goes. All right, so I just got back from the dentist. I'm still talking a little bit funny right now, but so I'm looking at is the Qs. Got in at 307 strike. And so it looks like I got 2 contracts off at 71 cents. And then when the Qs retraced back down around this area, I got stopped out last contract at 32 cents right before the big run up. So that sucks, but it is what it is. So technically 5 trades, 1 winning, the rest failed. And that just is what it is. If I would have, traded PayPal properly, I probably would have also had 70% profit on that one. Just gave it too tight of a risk, and that's why my data shows 25% is the best risk that I should be doing. So that's pretty much it, and we'll see you guys next time. Hello, and welcome to Trading Without Fear.